right, everyone, this is Tim of the Online Big Blue. We'll bring you the best of New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. It's Friday, weekend, almost a full week of training camps in the books. Or is it a week two? I don't know. We had the Hall of Fame game yesterday. Dallas Cowboys. Steelers. The Stillers. At least it wasn't the Eagles. I want to talk about Micah Parsons, but also first wanted to talk about Saquon Barkley. So, like I projected, and people always say to me, why do you always have to be right? I don't know, because I think I have a brain, I guess. Saquon Barkley expected to be back by week 3. That's kind of what I projected, and it's an easy projection because if you take from when he had the injury to when he had the surgery in November to his time frame, week 3 to me seems like the Giants would not be rushing him. Now, I know he had the injury in the second game of the season, but he did not have this surgery till almost November because of the swelling. I think week 3 is a good projected date. That's when they host the Atlanta Falcons on September 26th. It's also Eli Manning Day. Go get your Eli Manning bobblehead if you haven't done it already. The only thing I worry about is that might get pushed back to. I would think it might get pushed back to week 5. It depends on rehabilitation because, like I said, even when you're at this point in rehabilitation, I have rehabilitated from 2 ACL surgeries, 1 ACL repair, and 1 ACL replacement. So I can tell you firsthand, some days you feel good, some days you feel great, some days something just doesn't feel right. And sometimes when things just don't feel right, it's not that you've re-injured it or anything. It just doesn't feel right. You have to get into a different mindset and trust your ability. My only concern is going 2 to 3 weeks without Saquon Barkley, or the thought of Saquon Barkley, is going to put added pressure on Daniel Jones. 100%. It's just what's going to happen. And defenses are going to key to stop the run and force Daniel Jones to pass. So this is where hopefully that the smooth sounds of Kenny G will come into effect, that using Mr. Tony as a multi-set option and multi-positional option will come into play. He hopes Sterling Shepard, who is in the greatest shape of his career, will stay on the field. Doesn't matter how good of a shape you are, but if you keep hitting your head and getting concussions, it doesn't matter how good in shape you are in. Concussions don't care. But it's going to be interesting because you're going to rely on the likes of Booker and Alfred Morris and maybe Brightwell. And it does not strike the fear into defenses, those names. You're not talking about Joe Morris or Rodney Hampton or O.J. Anderson or Frank Gifford or Tiki Barber. You're not, or even to the extent of, Brandon Jacobs, Derek Ward. I mean, you're not Earth, Wind, and Fire, Amon Bradshaw. You're not striking fear. So the Giants and Jason Garrett are going to have to figure out a way to take the pressure off of Daniel Jones. Do not push him to the point where he thinks he has to do too much, because that's where Daniel Jones gets in trouble, and we've seen it a million times. And that's what people say about him. If he thinks he has to do too much, that's when he plays poorly. So we have to take the pressure off of Daniel Jones. I was hoping what we were going to do the first couple of weeks is rely on the running game and then play defense and win games like 17-10. Old Giant football way from the 80s and the 90s. But I'm not sure that's going to happen now. And we kind of knew it wasn't going to happen. I mean, this isn't stuff we didn't know. I was always concerned about the first 3 to 5 weeks of the season because of Saquon Barkley. And then you have to have that concern every time he touches the ball, what's going to happen to him. But you know what? We now have a date, or a projected date. We can move forward. We can take a look at this and see what happens. And then, like I said, the Giants can plan accordingly. Wanted to talk about Micah Parsons. Oh, dear Lord. I know it's preseason, and you try not to get too excited about preseason. Also, he's playing a bunch of guys that aren't going to be first teamers, are going to be more second to third teamers, or guys that aren't even in. No, he was playing more against a second, some first stringers mixed in, and then mostly second and third teamers. But the sideline to sideline ability of this man was on full display. You saw number 11 all over. I swear to God, at one point I thought there was 2 number 11s. Because he's at one spot. He's at another spot. He's over someplace else. Is he going to be the linebacker that got away for the Giants? Is he going to be the guy that haunts us for the next 10 years over in Dallas? Because if you look at, if you want a prototypical 3-down linebacker, Michael Parsons looks like he more than fits the bill. It was scary. The only thing I saw in the short time of play was his coverage of the back out of the backfield. He was a little late. He wasn't picked. I don't know if I assume that was his assignment. But he was a little late off the ball to shadow the running back out of the backfield. Now the Steeler quarterback didn't look that direction, Mason Rudolph. But I think a more veteran or seasoned quarterback would see that on another play and go that direction. But if you looked at him going sideline to sideline, he was making plays. You know, he made one play. He was like 7 yards off the line of scrimmage and came across the field to make the play. He was towards the line, went 7 yards downfield, and ran down the ball carrier. It's interesting because I think he can rush the passer. I think he'll be fine in coverage, and I think he'll have the ability to play the run. He's also one of those sneaky guys in some ways. Because like I said, you didn't know where he was on the field. And the next thing you know, number 11's popping up. And I worry that we had him. When we lost Josh Allen for Daniel Jones, I was not overly concerned, even when Josh Allen had his 10.5 sacks his rookie season. Because he was a great talent. Great talent at the number 6 pick, because I thought he should have went higher. I thought he was going to the Jets, but I wasn't overly like, oh, you know what? He's gonna haunt us, because he went to Jacksonville. This guy went to our rival, our bitter rival. He went to fucking Dallas, man. I also want to say happy birthday to Greg over in Sweden, one of our wonderful subscribers. He always leaves fantastic comments, so happy birthday, Greg. I don't know what time it is in Sweden, but I think you said it was today or your birthday, so happy birthday. But like I said, I worry that he went to a divisional rival. And then we're going to have to play him twice a year. And who knows, he may be even potentially in the playoffs. But you saw on a limited display. And you know what the funny thing is, and this is what I like about preseason. I've been following preseason religiously, I would say, since 1980. And I've gone to most, if not all, the Giant preseason games. You could tell when a player is elevating above the talent that's on the field. So if the majority of the guys that were playing were going to be second to third stringers, Michael Parsons was above those guys already within the first 12 plays. And it's going to be his speed and athletic ability and his awareness that's going to make him a great pro. And like I said, I get worried. I'm not going to lie to you. I get worried that he's in our division. I don't know. I just hope he's not the guy that got away. So going to have to give away that Coaches Club ticket, but we will figure it out. But we're going to wrap it up today. And again, this is Tim on the Online Big Blue, bringing you the best of New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. And as always, if you could like, maybe subscribe, ring the bell, you know what I mean? That'd be awesome.